Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Rod Eccles.
Can you hear me now? There we go. I don't know what the heck is going on here. But anyway, there we go. We got Kelly Ayotte. And so, things are not looking good for Miss Ayotte. And unfortunately. But it's... It is, how can I say this? It's due to the gullibility and the ease of manipulation of not just we Americans, but we as human beings. And I'll get into that today and give you some tools out there so you're not so easily manipulated. Because it's just, what is going on right now is just insipid. And it's insane. And none of it makes any sense. If you're trying to put two and two together to try to make sense of it, you're going to have a very hard time. So that is partly why I'm here, to help you make some sense of it. By the way, the call-in number should be up and running this morning. We made some changes yesterday to the whole system, and we also put in a backup just in case. So we've got a near 100%, it's like 90% backup capabilities. But the number here is 603-835-3226. Again, that's 603-835-3226. They make things easier, so they say, but then they go ahead and they screw things up, and by making things more complicated because they say they want it better. And I went through this yesterday, my little tirade against the software and computer developing people because they think that they're so much smarter than we are. And in the areas of computers, yeah, they're smarter. And I love it when people think that they're so smart. They're smarter than the rest of us in one particular area. And that's okay. I mean, hell, you want your medical doctor to be smarter than you in medicine, right? Yeah. So that is fine. But they study it. They go to school to study it. They don't naturally learn it. But overall, to think that some people think that they're smarter than other people just because, they have some IQ, which means nothing. That is a misnomer. Intelligence quotient, IQ, has nothing to do with your intelligence. It actually measures your ability to learn and how quickly you can learn something. A person that has dyslexia does not have a high IQ. But they could go on to be, an author, a successful author and playwright. What was it? His name, Steve Connolly? Cannon? He had a lot of TV hits. He was responsible for a lot of TV shows back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. His studio. He wrote a lot of the scripts to that stuff. And he had dyslexia. This was the first time that, they were speaking of dyslexia. I think it was on the Cosby Show that was brought up. Malcolm Jamal Warner's character had dyslexia. Theo. So, it was Stephen R. Connolly, or Connell. Stephen R. Connell, I think was his name. He had dyslexia. But he was a prolific writer. So, he learned how to do things in the area that he chose. Did that make him smarter than most other people? No. Did that make him a genius? Obviously not. So, don't get hung up on these people. They're smarter than me. No, they're not. The difference is really with a lot of supposed geniuses is that they just take the time to think about things where you don't. And that's the important part. We all got the same brain matter. Nobody has more than the next person. Now, some people may use slightly more of their brain capacity than others because they have different connections in their brain system. Neurons are different. But we're all the same otherwise. And we buy into this notion that there's always, I hear this all the time. It drives me insane. Well, Hillary Clinton is, she's so smart. Where do they get off thinking that this woman is all that smart? I got an answer for you, by the way. I got an answer for you. And we will get into that, to get into all of that about what the reason is why some people think that Hillary is so smart. Smartest woman in the world. And why people think that Obama's the smartest president we've ever had. Yeah, right. The big story, however, is Hurricane Matthew. And as predicted, the left is going apeshit, balls to the walls, bonkers on this one. Well, I mean, it's big news. It's a big story. For the couple of main reasons why it's still a strong storm. It's still, I do believe, last time I checked, it was Category 4 and possibly picking up some strength going across the warm waters in the Caribbean. But the fact that it has not, we have not had a major hurricane landfall in over 10 years, in spite of all the wonderful doomsayers and of the left and of the global warming and man-made climate change idiocracy. That's right, idiocracy is as in idiots. They really. Well, there's actually some stuff on here about this. There are some really interesting things that are going on with this hurricane issue. Now, have you seen the picture? The picture of the skull. Well, if you haven't seen it, I think it's over on Rod Eccles, the fan page over on Facebook. If you haven't seen, they took a snapshot of the storm a couple of days ago, and the way the picture was taken at the time that it was taken and how they've enhanced the eye of the storm so you could see where it was, evidently. Perfect timing for Halloween, right? October. It looked like a skull, like a death skull. It looked like the profile of a skull with a red eye. And that skull was smiling as it was looking towards and bearing down on Florida. So, a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's a sign, it's terrible. I've even had people say, yeah, it's a sign of God's judgment. People, no. If you're going to go biblical with that kind of stuff, you got to understand this is not a one-time weak strike. I'm sorry, if this is God's judgment on the world or the USA, it's a very weak one. Now, don't get me wrong. A Category 4 storm is going to cause tremendous damage and havoc. But overall, who's it going to affect? Not many people compared to the entire size of the country and the world. Not many. But don't get me wrong. It is going to cause some devastation, some heartache. It's already caused. What I think up to last count, I think up to 15 deaths are blamed on this storm. But look, we haven't had to deal with one in over 10 years on mainland USA. It's hit, obviously, Puerto Rico and Jamaica, Cuba has been hit a few times in that time period, but mainland USA has not. And I know a lot of governmental officials and safety experts are really scared that people have gotten complacent. There's also a scare going on out in Southern California. Evidently, and I had it in a stack paper pile over the past couple of days. It's not in this current paper pile, but there is this issue that they seem to have found another earthquake fault line running parallel to the San Andreas Fault in Southern California, and that there were some rumblings going on. And I think was San Diego, one of the city or municipal governments shut down for fear of there being a major quake. Yeah. I hate to say it, make no mistake about it, there is going to be a major quake at some point in time in Southern California. That's just the way it is. That's just the way the earth is made, and it's gonna happen. But because there have been I don't know how people can get complacent with all the rumbling that's been going on over there lately, but people get complacent when there aren't disasters that happen over a decent amount of time. They begin to think, see, we're all done with that. It's not going to happen anymore, or it can't happen here, or now that I'm here, this is not going to happen. It always happens to somebody else. Well, remember what I say about, disasters or tragedies always happen to somebody else? To somebody else, you are that somebody else. I said that once to a group of teenagers, and they looked at me like I had two heads. Well, what do you mean? I'm not no, they're somebody else. I'm like, well, for some reason, they couldn't connect the dots on that one. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why they couldn't connect the dots. To somebody else, you are that somebody else. But see, people are so, especially millennials, they're so in tune with themselves today that they cannot even fathom or try to understand what it means to be part of a society that is greater than themselves. They can't look at somebody outside of their inner circle and think that to them, because you have your own little circle. I try to explain as best I could. You have your own little friend circle, right? Yeah, you text and tweet to different to people, your friends, right? Yeah. Well, do you think that person over there is doing the same thing? Well, I don't know, I guess. Okay, so they have their own little inner circle of friends, right? Well, I guess. I mean, I don't care, but yeah, I guess. Okay, so for that inner circle of friends over there, if I were to walk over there and say, who are the other people or who are they? They're going to point over to you. Oh. I swear, you really want to knock people's heads together to try to get them to think. People are just so in tune with themselves now that it comes to the point where even our teens in this millennial generation have a hard time comprehending that there are other people out there besides them. And to the other people out there, they are the other people. And I couldn't believe I actually had to try to explain that to them. But, that's where we're headed, folks. That is where we're headed. But it gets worse before it gets better. I'll let you know when we get right back. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now, there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
603-835-3226 is the number to call should you wish to join me here live here on the Rod Eccles Show as we keep moving along here. One of the let's get into it. We got this Hurricane Matthew actually. I always say Matthew when I'm talking to people named Matthew. I don't know why. It's stupid, I know. But Hurricane Matthew is got people going absolutely bonkers. It's for the simple reason because, again, they don't think before they speak. Now, I don't mean that you sit when you're thinking before you're speaking that you sit around, with this erudite type of style and you and you ah and you hold your head up high and think, well, let me see. No, I'm not talking about that kind of thinking. That's a lot of people who do that are annoying. But, there are a lot of things that annoy me. Really, there are. But they don't even stop to think before. And then when they do speak, who was it that, and I can't remember the representative's name, who thought if you had too many people on one side of an island, it would flip over? I mean, did he really stop and think before he said that? Obviously not. And he didn't even see a problem with what he said. Well, here's another idiot out there who doesn't see a problem with what he said, especially when he said it. NBC reporter Ron Allen thinks that the climate deal that was just evidently it was agreed to by enough countries, so now it's going to go into immediate effect within 30 days or something like that. We'll get more into that as more details of how the U.S. fits into that it comes out. But NBC's reporter Ron Allen thinks climate deal is designed to stop the storms like Hurricane Matthew. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. This guy thinks that all of this is designed to stop hurricanes. Oh, hey, we need to control this man-made global climate change and man-made global warming so we can stop all these big hurricanes. Because that's what the climate change deal is all about, right? Yeah, it's going to stop this stuff. It's going to stop it. Yeah, people actually believe this stuff.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us,
after this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Bring the rain.
Welcome back. I am still your lovable host, and this is still the Rod Eccles Show. And I am still glad that you're still here with us, and that we are limping through this week, first week, full week back on the air after summer hiatus. Glad to have had that little time off to recharge, enjoy some stuff that I haven't gotten the time to enjoy in quite some time, and real fresh for the fall. Just in time for the election season. Ron Allen, President Barack Obama spoke to reporters on Wednesday afternoon in the White House Rose Garden, commenting on the required number of nations having ratified the Paris Climate Change Agreement. And almost on cue, and by the way, this is from Newsbusters. NBC's Ron Allen connected global warming to Hurricane Matthew, is set to bear down on the Bahamas, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, and all points southeast. Speaking on MSNBC Live to host Kate Snow, Allen first gushed about how the president believes so deeply in protecting the environment that the deal marks one of the most significant aspects of his legacy. Before bringing Hurricane Matthew as an intriguing, practical matter, he said, well, it goes on to say that in making the following comments, Allen failed to realize that there hasn't been a major Atlantic hurricane to crack the top 10 in intensity in over 9 years. And if it comes ashore, Matthew would be the first major hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. since Hurricane Wilma in 2005. This is 2016, people. That's 11 years ago. And all this time, we've had various forms of governmental regulation all over the planet to curb global warming. Even in spite the fact that, we've heard some of these climate scientists, pro-climate scientists, that tell us, well, even if we stop polluting right now and not another drop of pollution went into the air, it wouldn't change anything for the next 100 years. But we're told, if we don't do something now, we're all going to die in 10 years. Well, isn't that what Al Gore said? Weren't we already supposed to be dead like 3 times over by now? I mean, at least. Come on, folks. Everybody, you gotta, I know there are some people that still doubt me on this one. When I tell them that global warming got started, all this crap got started with global cooling. Because of man's pollution, we were going to go into a man-made ice age, and it was going to be colder than cold. And then sun would never shine again. That's what we were taught in the 60s and 70s and early 80s. It was global cooling. And people today who were alive and went to school back then, I don't understand how they don't remember this. We were inundated with it. It was part of science class, folks. It was global cooling. And then I point out, well, there was a major cartoon, 30-minute cartoon. It was a TV special that they showed almost every year in the 70s to bring home the fact. And people say there was no such thing by Dr. Seuss. And so I point them over to YouTube where it's on, the Lorax. Not the everybody thinks Jim Carrey. No, not the Jim Carrey thing. That was obviously not in the 1970s. And it was about cutting down trees. The whole thing, basically what it was about, the trees were not they weren't a complete euphemism, but they were a partial euphemism for the coal industry, by the way. Because what all they did was they cut down all the trees without even thinking about it to make this clothing and to power the plant to make the clothing. That's all that counted. Profit. It was an anti-profit cartoon as well. But it was mostly about teaching people about, well, if we don't stop this willy-nilly consumerism, and we don't stop chopping down the trees and stop burning the coal, we're going to have a nuclear-like winter. We're going to go into an ice age. Because they were using science at the time. This is it was telling us the Earth was cooling off. The Earth is cooling off, man. It's cool, and it's due to us. It's cooling off. It's cooling off. And then all of a sudden, whoops. The Earth stopped cooling off. And it started to warm up a little bit. Well, all those same scientists and global warming or global cooling nut jobs decided, well, if we want to keep our jobs, we better change with the times. There's no evidence that the Earth is cooling off. In fact, the evidence is now pointing that it's warming up. That's it. That's it. It's global warming time. We're going to burn ourselves to death. Everything is going to be a desert. And throughout the 80s and early 90s, all we heard about is how the Sahara Desert in Africa was growing by like a mile or hundreds of miles every single year due to global warming. The Sahara Desert is growing and growing, and it's going to engulf the entire continent of Africa if we don't do something. Nobody remembers that? People have short memories. And so now you have reporters. People who are supposed to investigate and tell the truth. You got reporters out there who think that this stupid Paris climate change agreement is going to stop hurricanes like Hurricane Matthew from ever happening again. As if Category 3, 4, and 5 hurricanes never took place before the Industrial Revolution. These hurricanes, they're all the fault of man now. I mean, Mother Earth was never that angry. She was never that angry. Sure, you had hurricanes, but, they were weak ones. Hurricanes back then didn't sink ships and destroy huts and buildings and blow over trees and kill people. No, that's a modern invention, man, according to these nut jobs. He goes on to say it's very interesting that this is happening a day when there's a hurricane bearing down on the United States and the Caribbean, because these severe storms, beach erosions, intense weather episodes that we've had is perhaps the most practical sample of what the president was talking about as the threat that the planet faces. So beaches have been eroding since the dawn of time. But again, beach erosion. I even had somebody tell me, when I pointed out, I said, look, water's water. Beaches have been eroding since before the Industrial Revolution. You know what their answer was to me on that one? Oh, but it wasn't that bad back then, Rod. Again, nothing was ever that bad before the Industrial Revolution, I guess. Mother Nature was just not that powerful. She wasn't that strong. She didn't turn the earth or anything like that, shape the earth. No, that didn't happen. I guess earthquakes also didn't happen. I guess earthquakes also didn't happen before the Industrial Revolution. Nothing happened before the Industrial Revolution, I guess. This is all man's fault. This is all the fault of men and their quest for greedy profits. Their quest for greedy profits. That's the reason why. Why? Well, I don't. It's simply due to people not thinking. We've lost the ability to think. I wouldn't say we've lost the ability. We still have that ability to think. We've just lost the will to use that ability to think. We've lost the will. And for those of us who actually do think, we're going to be called names up the wazoo if we're not lock in step with the groupthink. And the groupthink is, quite simply, that all of this extreme weather, as they call it, is the fault of the Industrial Revolution, which is the invention of man, which ergo it's man's fault that the Earth is so mad and that we get hurricane categories 4, 5, and up. 3, 4, 5, and is there a category 6? I don't know. And that we get all these tornadoes. It's man's fault that we get F5 tornadoes. It's man's fault that we get earthquakes. It's man's fault that the beach erodes on coastlines all around the world, on every continent. It's man's fault that the ice at the poles melts, but then it's man's fault if the ice at the poles grows, but then it's man's fault if a polar bear drowns, and it's man's fault if a polar bear doesn't drown. It's man's fault that a polar bear goes after seals because they don't have another food source. Now look, man is the cause of some pretty devastating things on this planet. Let's be honest. We have done some destruction on this planet. We have. But the planet is bigger and stronger than us, and it heals itself. And we learn from those mistakes. At least we try to. And a lot of times we try to fix those mistakes. And by the way, might I add, again, something that people have forgotten. Well, I'm here to remind you. The biggest polluters on the planet are not free societies like the USA. They always have been and always will be the closed and tyrannical societies like the USSR, the old Soviet Union. Look what China is doing. I mean, for years, all the, like the Kyoto Treaty and Paris Treaty and a bunch of other treaties in between and before and after, a lot of those didn't include China or India. India is not a closed society like China is, but, all these emerging markets and nations, they weren't included. The Soviet Union fell. The Iron Curtain came down, and we saw how polluted all the countries in that union were. We saw the devastation. Chernobyl, anybody? No, people don't remember Chernobyl either. I know. This is Rod. How can you possibly bring back stuff for people to remember? I mean, history is. That's not fair that you bring up history, Rod. It's not fair. You can't bring up history like that, Rod. It's just not. It's not right, man. Not right. Can't do it because it'll cause people to think, and people don't want to think anymore. They just want to be told. They don't want any contrarians like you out there, Rod. Yeah, what's the matter with you? People want to go lot, which probably explains why some people like Elon. I got right here. Wealthy people around the world, not just Americans. So yeah, this idiocy is not just spread here in America, but wealthy people, the ultra wealthy, the world's billionaires. Evidently here, like Elon Musk. A lot of them think that we actually live in a simulated world, not unlike that of the movie The Matrix. And some of them are actually funding scientists to find a way to break through that matrix.
Bring the rain!
Man, you can't make some of that stuff up. You try, but you just can't do it. These people are total... because it's part of this groupthink. It's part of the groupthink that man is the problem and man is the fault of all that is wrong on the planet, or all that goes wrong on the planet. Because this whole planet is supposed to be a paradise. There's not supposed to be, tsunamis, or aren't supposed to be, every time it rains, it's supposed to be a nice, gentle, soaking rain. If you have thunderstorms, they're just supposed to be, beautiful lightning strikes that don't harm anything. It's just supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be entertainment for man and all the birds and animals on the planet. So it's not supposed to be devastating or destructive. It's just supposed to be nice and gentle. The oceans are always supposed to be, fairly smooth. Yeah, you want to be able to surf. Animals like to surf. Believe it or not, some animals like to play around in the waves too. So that's okay. You can have waves, But when they get to be swells and they get to be too high and they start rocking things and eroding things, that's not supposed to happen. So we're not supposed to have any hurricanes. Volcanoes. I'm surprised I think we are being blamed. Man is being blamed for volcanic activity. Volcanoes, that was a long time ago when the earth was forming. The earth is done forming now. It doesn't have to have volcanoes. It doesn't have to have volcanic activity. All these earthquakes and volcanic activity is due to what? Is due to man because of what we're doing. Fracking. Oh yeah, it's man's fault. Earthquakes everywhere. Now man's fault because of fracking. A volcano blows up. Well, was this the cause of fracking? Could it have been fracking? Maybe this eruption wouldn't have been so bad if we weren't fracking. It would have been a lot less. It wouldn't have been an explosion. It just would have been a puff of smoke if we weren't fracking. So everything, according to the left now, according to these international nut jobs who all they want is to redistribute wealth and to hold back and cut down on your freedom and your ability to live your life the way you want to live it without the over interference of some government entity. No, they got to be the ones that tell you how to live because they know best. Because what? They're smarter than you, right? And they're only smarter than you because they got you to the point where you no longer think or remember anything. Because whenever I ask somebody, do you remember? No, I don't recall. No wonder so many people like Hillary, because she's just like the rest of us. Can't remember a damn thing.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $13 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 plus 2 equals Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
Just to stop and think. That's all they have to do. One of the most important things that you could possibly do is just to, this program's all about getting people to think. To open up and think logically. I want people to think. I'm not afraid of, because, you know, if people actually think, we're going to come to similar conclusions if people actually take the time to think. If people actually stop and think, and they actually pursue the truth, you'd have far fewer dictators on this planet. You'd have far fewer wars. You wouldn't have the rise of people like Stalin and Hitler and Mao Zedong. But man has been drubbed into not letting somebody else do the thinking for the masses. That's what it's always come down. Hey, you don't have to worry about thinking. We'll do the thinking for you. Right? We'll do the thinking for you. And then when we do, you're going to have to believe us because we're the thinkers and you're not. And then it gets to the point where people just say, yeah, you're right. I don't know about this stuff because you're smarter than me. We don't know about this stuff. You know what's better for us. And then they start doing things that even regular stupid people understand as stupid. But then it's too late. How many communities or states around the USA is it now illegal for you to collect rainwater off your roof? Now, why is that? because you're diverting the water from the natural resource of the ground. And nobody else thinks that that's stupid? Oh, no. That's saving the environment by not collecting rainwater off your roof. It got to that point because nobody thinks.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve, as they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
The legal ability to do so, man's legal authority to do so. Yeah, folks, I got some interesting anti-free speech stuff here too in my paper pile, and it's really kind of eye-opening. Again, it has to do with people not thinking. Because you got to wonder how stuff gets like. I know lots of people think, well, that can't happen or won't happen in the U.S. today, Rod. It will never happen. Why do you keep bringing stuff like that up? You know, it happens. It happens over there. It happens somewhere else. Well, guess what? To over there, somewhere else, we're the over there, right? Isn't it? Is it? After all, you know, we're only, what is the number? 5-6% of the world's population? You know, 7.5 billion people on the planet, or 8 billion? What, 320 million people live here? Just a drop in the bucket. So, you know, basically to 7 billion people are the other people. Right? So they're saying, well, it can't happen here. It can only happen over there. Anyway, call-in number 603-835-3226, 835-3226. If you wish to express your vocal cords and exercise them. Because here's something from ABC News. There was some arrest at a library in Kansas City. There was a Kansas City, Missouri. There was some arrest made at a library. Now, folks, hold on to your seats for a second. And I don't know why this isn't blowing up on the news outlets all over this country. Well, I mean, I do know why, but it still should be blowing up all over the news. Here's the story. The executive director of the Kansas City library system, not library system, says he is outraged that prosecutors continue to pursue charges against a man who was arrested after asking questions during a library discussion about the Middle East and the Middle East peace process, and an employee who tried to intervene. So 2 people were arrested because one man asked a question. Now, although the arrest actually occurred way back in May, and this is the first we're hearing about it, following a speech by author and diplomat Dennis Ross. Now, the library system only recently went public about its opposition to charges, the Kansas City Star reported. So, the library was in a position right away that somebody was arrested and one of their own were arrested simply because somebody asked a question during a discussion. Hey, what else were they there for? Oh, you mean to tell me that the people are just supposed to listen to whatever the speech person says, the speaker says, and then just sit on their hands and do nothing? Is that it? I guess that's what we're supposed to take. That's what we're supposed to do. But okay. So you can get arrested for it. By the way, who is Dennis Ross? He's an American diplomat and author. So he's one of those erudite people. But he served as director of policy and planning at the State Department under President George H.W. Bush. And he was a special Middle East coordinator as well, out of the University of California. Los Angeles is where he's educated, higher educated. And he's wrote quite a number of books over the years. But here's the deal. The executive director of the city's library system said, "We're going to be living in a different kind of country if people can be arrested for asking questions at a library. If this kind of behavior is unacceptable, if this kind of behavior is unacceptable to the police, asking questions, then I guess we're going to have to just shut down the library." Now, the issue arose after Ross finished speaking and took questions from Jeremy Roth-Kushel, R-O-T-H-E hyphen K-U-S-H-E-L, Kushel, concerning whether Jewish Americans like Roth-Kushel should be concerned about actions by the U.S. and Israel that amount to state-sponsored terrorism. He asked, "When are we going to stand up and be ethical Jews and Americans?" Roth-Kushel asked. Now, when Roth-Kushel tried to ask another question, a private security guard grasped his arm, followed by an off-duty police officer. Both of them were employed by the Jewish Community Foundation. Now, Roth-Kushel then shouted, "Get your hands off me right now!" You know how indignant people act. So Steve Woolfolk, the director of public programming for the library, tried to intervene. Both men were arrested by off-duty officers. So how is it that you now understand? I understand. You know, there are some holes in the story. Was Roth Kushel being belligerent? I possibly, but we're talking ABC News here, and this is a story that talks about, you know, state-sponsored terrorism by Israel in the U.S. You know, after all, the media doesn't like Israel any more than Obama does. So somebody who's obviously, this guy is a Jew. The way I'm reading the story, the way the story's written, he's a Jew, and he's anti-Israel. You think the press would be backing this guy left and right, but evidently he was arrested for just asking some questions. So how do we get to the point in the good old U.S. of A. where free speech is no longer free speech? And the police can just arrest you for anything now. I know people are saying, oh, geez, Rod, you're going to get an anti-cop like those Black Lives Matter. No. But I'm asking you to think. And I've asked this question, I don't know, dozens of times, and I still haven't gotten an answer from anyone. Not from officers, and I have friends who are police officers at all levels, local, state, federal. I know a couple FBI people, FBI special agents. I mean, I even knew somebody in the Secret Service who's no longer in the Secret Service. And I have a friend going all the way back to high school. He's now a U.S. Deputy Marshal. I have friends who are in law enforcement. But I asked the question, and I still haven't gotten an answer. Because I'm a thinking type of person, and I rack my brain on this one constantly. And this is a question that people need to start asking more and more of in order to protect their liberty, not to be anti-police. Now, I'm not talking Black Lives Matter. That's not even anti-police. That's just anti-civilization there. I mean, that's just a bunch of thugs being anarchists. That's ridiculous. But how is it that it is legal in this country for a person to be arrested for resisting arrest when there's nothing to arrest them for in the first place? Now, I want you to think about that. You have committed no crime. You're not thought to have committed a crime. But a policeman is going to arrest you. On what charge? And when you ask, what charge are you arresting me, you try to pull away, well, I'm arresting you now for resisting arrest. You know how often that actually happens? A lot. So wait. We've come to the point in this country. Now think about this, folks. We've come to the point in this country where somebody asks a question. And then they go to ask another question. And security and law enforcement people come up and grab them. He hasn't broken a law. Evidently, through in this ABC story, he wasn't disruptive. So they grab him, which, by the way, technically speaking, the way we have the laws written now, that's assault. So they grab him, and he says, in response to somebody grabbing him, "Get your hands off me," which is, most people would do the same thing. They would, you grab my arm, the first thing I'm going to do in reaction is to try to pull away. So they grab his arm, committing assault. He tries to pull away like anybody would, and now all of a sudden he's being charged with resisting arrest. Is that the way it works? I mean, he's an undercover cop. Doesn't say the cop was in uniform, but if he's off duty, if he's off duty, he's most likely not in uniform. You don't know who's grabbing you. Listen, as if everybody's supposed to know what a cop looks like, especially when they're in everyday street clothes. You're supposed to automatically know, I guess. But, I mean, do you see the problem with this, folks? Do you see the problem? I mean, just think about it. You now can be arrested for nothing. You can be arrested for asking a question, obviously not being disruptive, just asking a question, for standing, I don't know, on the sidewalk on the wrong spot of the sidewalk, I guess. You can be arrested for, collecting rainwater off your roof. But when it comes right down to it, is it really the law enforcement officer's fault? Well, to some degree, yes. But who enabled those law enforcement officers to get to that point? Well, think about it. We did. Because we elect the officials every single election cycle. We elect the officials that then go to our county, our city government, city halls, our town halls, our county governments, our state government, and all the way to Washington, D.C., nationally. We elect these jackasses every election cycle that then turn around once they get elected and say, we're going to have this law, this law, this law, this regulation, this regulation to protect you. Now I ask you, how is it that the government is protecting this gentleman by arresting him for asking a question?
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
I'm sure the founding fathers, never thought would actually happen. But here we are. We're now in the age of censorship in the United States. You know, all this is adding up to, if you were here earlier in the week, I know through all the blips and bleeps and everything that happened earlier this week, but I talked about how there's a report in a study that they do every year about, you know, the levels of freedom that nations on the planet have, and that the United States, the bastion of freedom, you know, Statue of Liberty type of thing, you know, people come here to be free, is no longer in the top 10 of the freest nations on the planet. We're talking United States. The United States of America is not the freest country on the planet. Now, I was scratching my head because it's pretty bad if we're not in the top 10. But here we are in the age of censorship. And of course, you know, people used to always chastise and berate Bible-thumping Christians for wanting to, censor people. You know, book burnings were the supposedly the whole idea of book burnings came from Christians, overzealous Christians. But now it is obviously not the Christians, it's the anti-Christians who are trying to stifle free speech. From the Washington Examiner, in the latest partisan escalation on the Federal Election Commission. Now, this is the FEC. A top Democratic commissioner has ripped a Republican commissioner's bid to protect books, radio, and internet media from regulation as pitiful. Ann Ravel, R-A-V-E-L, a former FEC chairwoman, joined other Democrats at a meeting this month to block Republican Lee Goodman's proposal to explicitly expand the press exemption from regulations to books, satellite radio, and internet-based news media. And pushing his plan aside, Ravel said that she didn't have enough time to consider Goodman's proposal. Goodman noted that the proposal has been under consideration for a while. In other words, this Republican was trying to stop Democrats from censoring radio and books, explicitly internet news and talk radio. The FEC wants to regulate this show. Democrats want to regulate this program and programs all over the internet just like it. In other words, they want to regulate speech. In other words, censorship. Our government is now moved into the direction and is firmly ensconced in the activity of censoring people's thoughts and speech. You can't ask a question. You can't be on the internet without their approval. Oh, yeah, it's here, folks.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Welcome back. I am still your lovable host, still trying to express my right, God-given right, to freedom of speech and expression here on the Rod Eccles Show. And there are a lot of other people who want to stop that, but you're going to have a hard time stopping me because it's hard to shut me up. One of the things that I often think about that many other people do not think about, a lot of people ask the question just like I do. They just don't think enough about it to try to get an answer to it. And that is, how the hell is Hillary Clinton actually even still in the race? And I'm not talking about her, cheating to get the Democratic nomination. How is it that Donald Trump isn't 50 points ahead? She asked a question, I don't understand why I'm not 50 points ahead. Well, I don't understand how Donald Trump isn't 50 points ahead. And I don't understand how this economy is worse off than it was under George W. Bush. And yet, his approval numbers are hitting highs while George W. Bush's approval numbers were hitting lows at this point in time, comparatively speaking of their tenure. I couldn't understand it. And then God works in mysterious ways, because I've been asking this question and I was thinking about it last night, and I'm thinking, and then this morning, part of the show prep, I come across this story. CNN ORC poll, this is on Newsmax, Obama hits high approval rating of 55%. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell is this guy at a 55% approval rating? We literally, even by government stats, I'm not even talking about anybody who's pushing the numbers or making fun with the numbers or fudging the we are talking about real, actual numbers. We have high unemployment near the U6 number near 10%. George W. Bush hit 7%, and you thought, actually George W. Bush hit 5.5%, and you thought that the whole world was going to blow up. So he's at nearly 10%. Oh, we have a great economy. We have the first president in our country's history not to have at least 1 year during his tenure to hit 3% growth in the GDP. The man has barely even touched 2%. And that didn't last long. I mean, we're at an anemic rate for 8 years now of under 2% on average. GDP growth. But the economy is great. That's not great. We have the lowest home ownership rate since World War II. But the economy and the real estate industry is great. Really? No, there aren't many people owning homes today as they did 10 years ago. We have 94 to 95 million people unemployed and out of the labor force. We have the lowest employment participation rate since the Great Depression. But the economy's great. He's doing a wonderful job. We have thrown our allies under the bus. Israel, Ukraine. We've got a president who goes over to another superpower like China who isn't even greeted by anybody. No red carpet, no pomp and circumstance like a world leader would get anywhere. Our president doesn't. Oh, but he's loved by everybody around the world. Putin calls him a jackass, laughs at him. But he's loved by everybody. Now we have the Russians openly telling us, oh, yeah, your guy is so bad and so stupid that we're just probably going to end up going to war with you at some point. Because you're that weak and feckless. And yet this guy's approval number hits 55%. And I'm scratching my head again thinking, how the hell is that possible? You've got a woman running for the office who in many polls is either neck and neck or ahead of her opponent, Donald Trump. This is a woman who's been proven to have lied numerous times to the American people, to American legal authorities like the FBI, like to Congress. She has been proven to have taken money from terrorist sponsoring states, Saudi Arabia. She doesn't know how to handle classified documents. She lied about that. She caused the death of at least 4 Americans under her watch. She lies about that. We even know that she lied directly to the face of the parents of the fallen heroes. And yet she's neck and neck, or in some polls, ahead of Donald Trump. Well, I know they manipulate the numbers. They got 3 polls a day. One poll says, national poll, Hillary Clinton up 6 points. National poll, Hillary Clinton up 10 points. National poll, Hillary Clinton up 11 points. These are all polls that are released on the same day. National polls. How is that possible? We're talking a 5-point spread here. That's huge. But how the hell is she even that close? Even if that number was cut in half and just say, oh, Hillary's like 3 or 4 points up on Donald Trump nationally. How? We've got a government that is bigger than ever before, more intrusive in our everyday lives than ever before. People are now going broke trying to afford this Obamacare monstrosity. They're not getting the health care coverage that they used to have. They're paying more out of pocket. They hate Obamacare. Poll after poll after poll will tell you that 70 to 80% of American people hate Obamacare to some degree, but yet and still Obama and Hillary Clinton are still high in the polls. How is that possible? How is it even plausible? And then God smacked me over the head with the answer, because here it is. Washington Times reports, Obama employs an army of public relations PR staffers, which cost the American taxpayer $500 million per year. It's a PR war, a PR stunt. That's how they do it. This guy has got the biggest PR staff of any president in history. Why does a president even need a PR staff? Let alone one the size that is costing us $500 million a year. In other words, the government is taking our money to employ people to lie and manipulate to us. You understand that? The government is employing, at the tune of $500 million a year, our tax money is going to a bunch of people whose job it is to lie to us and manipulate us. That's a PR's job. I don't care how else you put it. A public relations person's job is to put a positive spin on their client. And in this case, the client is the President of the United States. They're supposed to control that person's image, help them mold that image, and put out the best part of that image so people buy it and believe it. And this guy is doing it to the tune of $500 million a year. No wonder his popularity is at 55%. No wonder Hillary Clinton is at least 3 points ahead in national polls of Donald Trump. You know, we want to blame the almighty. This also explains how the liberal lamestream media often sounds like you're listening to one channel. You flip from one station to the next, and they're all saying almost exactly the same thing at the exact same time. You don't believe that there's that the media gets marching orders? Yeah, this is how they get their marching orders, through these PR people. They put out these PR press releases, and they have these talking points. I know how PR works. I'm in the business. So you put out these talking points, and you distribute it, and everybody in the news media is hooked. You know, the major players are hooked up into these PR press releases from the White House. They get the talking points. You know, how else do you get words all of a sudden that nobody ever used before, like gravitas? Remember that? George Bush doesn't have any gravitas. Yeah, does he have the gravitas? We don't think George Bush has gravitas. Will the world think that George Bush has gravitas? Nobody uses that word. And all of a sudden, just about every news outlet in the country was using that word. Well, now we know how and why. It's because you've got a bunch of PR people putting out the talking points, putting out the new word to use, the word of the day, the word of the week, giving orders on how to attack Trump, how to obfuscate the truth of what Obama's really doing. Hey, you know, the economy's great. Just say it. Say it over and over again. And even people who know that the economy's not great will start believing that the economy's probably not so bad after all. I mean, this is exactly how it happens. I get it all the time. Hey, you know, this economy's good. That's why the president's so popular. Really? And you start rattling off all the Obama administration financial and economic stats, and you ask, how is that great? Well, it's better than what Trump would do. But wait, we're not talking about Trump. You just told me that Obama fixed the economy, and that Hillary Clinton is going to continue the exact same thing that Obama's doing, maybe even double down on it, and keep the economy this good. And I just rattled off all the numbers to you that you find on government websites from the Obama administration that tells us the economy is in the toilet. Explain yourself. They can't. They can't. But they believe what they believe because they've been fed a bunch of lies from a massive army of PR agents. That's how they do it, folks. You can wonder no more, because I, the Rod of Truth, have just exposed exactly how all this is done. You know, they used to call it propaganda. You know that? They used to call it propaganda. I don't, but, you know, they're out there now, they're pushing the whole notion, once again, that Donald Trump is like Hitler. Donald Trump is like Hitler. How is Donald Trump acting like Hitler? How is Donald Trump the new Hitler? Give me a specific example. Well, he doesn't like Muslims. Well, obviously nobody around the world right now likes Muslims. Hell, half the Muslims don't like the other half of Muslims. They're killing each other in record numbers. How is that Hitler-like? The only people who seem to like Muslims are a bunch of liberals. The liberal elite. And then they feed it down through their PR system to get other stupid liberals to say, well, you know, Muslims aren't so bad. If you don't like Muslim, you're a racist. Really? Why? with the exception of Timothy McVeigh in Oklahoma City, over the last 20 years, every major terrorist attack in this country has come from who? A Muslim. And it has gotten so bad that now they want to change the terms of what a terror attack is to just about anything. You got a kid with a gun. Oh, that's a terror attack. It's not a terrorist attack. It's a grievous act. Yes. It's not a terror attack. And people, well, geez, you shoot two people get murdered. Is it a terror attack? Well, it's a when they understand that it's not a Muslim or who's done the shooting, when it's obvious that it's probably a white person, and it's a terror attack, man, potential a terror attack. But you get a Muslim who shoots up and kills 49 people in a nightclub. Oh, we can't say jump to the gun and call it terror. They put out this stuff. I remember from the LGBT community when the Pulse nightclub first happened. And they were outraged, and they blamed bigoted Christians for it. They jumped to conclusions saying, "Oh, it's a fault of Christianity. Jerry Falwell, all these people out there, all these Christian Bible, they're the reasons why this happened." And this guy comes out to it shows that he's an ISIS lover. He's a radicalized terrorist from the Middle East. And we're not supposed to jump to conclusion that it's a terror attack? They were blaming Christians right off the bat. They wanted to blame the Tea Party. They tried to blame it was the NRA's fault that this guy had a gun. You know that? The left tried to blame the NRA on this guy, not radical Islam. No. It was the National Rifle Association's fault that this guy killed 49 people. 49 gay people. It was the fault of the NRA. Not radical Islam. Oh, no. You can see pictures on YouTube and videos on YouTube of Muslims and radical Islam throwing suspected gay people off 8- and 10-story buildings to their death, and if they don't die, then the people on the ground that stomp their heads until they are dead. But no. The Orlando massacre is the fault of the NRA. Now, how do you think the NRA gets blamed for every shooting that goes on in this country? Because there's PR people hired by the left to put this notion out there. And they give the marching orders to the lamestream media, who's nothing more than a shill for the Democrat Party, and that's how we get to where we're at right now. And people don't stop and think for themselves when they repeat something, and then when you challenge them on the facts that are given by that same left group, they don't know what to think anymore because they don't think. Greatest economy in the world. Really? Not according to Obama's own numbers. It's the worst economy that we've had since the Great Depression. Explain that. They can't. And the reason they can't is because Obama employs $500 million worth of PR annually. That's how they do it.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0 Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
It's in full swing. You can't, there's no way around it. Here's the full story, folks. President Obama, and this is from the Washington Times, President Obama has swelled the ranks of government PR, adding hundreds of new public relations specialists to the federal payroll during his time in office. This is costing taxpayers $500 million a year. Now, that doesn't include, pay attention here, folks, it doesn't include the more than $100 million that the administration spends annually for help from the private sector spin masters. So he hires on the government payroll, spends $500 million, and then he goes out and spends another $100 million on private PR people. Now, folks, you got to understand, public relations is not exactly cheap, especially good PR. It's not cheap. But $100 million is a huge budget. You know, do you realize $100 million just for PR is more than most U.S. companies spend on PR and advertising combined in a year? We're talking your biggest corporations. They don't spend that kind of money. I mean, only when you're talking about companies like like GM and Ford and Chrysler and maybe Walmart, they're only so few companies can spend that kind of money. Then you start adding on another $500 million just to employ government people. No corporation in the world spends that kind of money on PR. They don't spend it on PR. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. This number doesn't account for the $800 million spent on contracts for advertising in 2015. In other words, our wonderful government has gone out there and spent something in the neighborhood of a $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion on advertising and PR promotion. Folks, that's how they do it.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve, as they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
This is why companies advertise. They advertise to get you to buy their product or service. And whenever something bad happens, like the Deepwater Horizon, Exxon Mobil, they spent millions of dollars in trying to clean up their image via PR and ad campaigns to get people to think more positively about them, to change the way they think about them. And that's what PR is all about. Your movie stars know this big time. All your stars, your movie, your actors, even some of your high-priced and very successful artists, they employ PR people to put a fresh, positive spin on and create this persona of who these people are. And most of the time, the reality is that the star is nothing like what we perceive them to be. And we only perceive them to be because of certain ways, is because of their PR. I mean, think about it. I know there's visuals when it comes to actors and stuff. And singers. There's visual and auditory stuff that moves people, but it's the way companies work. It's the way politicians work. When they look, believe it or not, a lot of times the person who wins an election, a close election, is the person who had better PR. Not because they had better policies that people wanted. Not because, one person got their message out better than the other. I always love that. Oh, well, we just didn't get our message out. That's why we lost. No, you did get your message out. That's why you lost. People actually understood your message, didn't want it. They rejected it. And you didn't have a good enough PR person or people in place to put a positive enough spin to get people to believe that your ideas were better. That's why you lost. And no, they don't want to believe that, or they don't want you to believe that that's what they know and believe. It's all about the PR game, public relations. So if you put out there or spend over $1.5 billion annually on manipulation, that's what PR and advertising really is. PR and advertising is just manipulation. The only difference is that advertising for the private sector is if you lie about something, you and or your company can get in big trouble for it. Heavily fined, and somebody could go to jail. If the government lies to you, nobody ever goes to jail. When was the last time a government official went to jail for lying to the American public? Exactly. Anyway, welcome back, folks. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. I am, of course, your lovable host, L. Rod. Still coming to you live from the bunkerized studio. Somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, I may have to reinforce the refurbished bunkerized studio if things keep going the way they're going. Might have to put in some gun turrets. Look, some of the old forts, some of the best old forts, they're gun turrets and arrow slits, and going back to castles. The best designed ones had these things in strategic locations, and the openings were just big enough for the shooter to be able to get a wide view of the area that they're facing, without exposing themselves. Only exposing themselves. You have to be a sharpshooter to take out a person in some of these places where arrow slits or gunnery ports were so small, but they were so strategically located that the person could see for great swaths of territory. I may have to put in some of those. Anyway, call in number 603-835-3226 if you wish to join me here live. Now, historically speaking, defense is really a big part of winning a war. If you're going to attack an enemy and you can't take out their command and control, and you can't win the war. And now, back in medieval times, the command and control was located within a castle. You had to take out in order to win, you had to take out the lord, or you had to take out the king and queen. You had to take out the ruler. In this day and age, it's just, modern warfare is the same thing. You really got to take out those who are running the show. And so, castles and forts morphed into bunkers. And we still use bunkers to this day. No, we don't use bunkers anymore. Yeah, we do. And the design, just as those castles and those forts were well thought out, well designed, and well built. Same thing with today's modern bunkers. I mean, we go back to some of the bunkers of World War II, both here in this country and in the war-torn areas of Europe. We see that the designs of these bunkers would even stand up to most modern-day weaponry today. And that's how well thought out, well designed, and well built they are. Now imagine if they could do that 30s and 40s and build them relatively quickly at that. Can you imagine building a bunker, building bunkers and bunkers and bunkers? Miles of bunkerage. Is that a word, bunkerage? During a war. You got to build it fast. Now, think if they could do that back in the 30s and 40s. Think about the bunkers that we don't even know about that they've built today. Part of the success of a bunker is we don't know where they are. And whenever a useful modern bunker is discovered, what happens shortly thereafter? It's abandoned. Because part of the strength of a bunker is its secrecy. Well, if you know it's there, you can directly target it, and eventually, if you keep directly targeting it, you can breach the bunker and get at who's ever in it. So part of the power and strength of a bunker is unlike a fort or a castle, is you can't see it and you don't know where it is. Because bunkers, unlike a fort or a castle, there's nothing there to defend it. Its defense is its secrecy, is the dirt over it, and the walls that keep it together. That's its defense. There's nobody out there trying to repel an attacker like a fort or a castle. There were defenders that could repel attackers. Because even those, back then, even if you didn't defend it well or couldn't defend it, eventually the enemy breached your walls. So you had to be able to repel. But hey, our government spends tons of money on all kinds of things that aren't really necessary for the good of the American people. Now, some people say, well, our leaders need to be protected in case of war. Yeah, I agree. But protected from whom? The real enemy, or from its own people that it's starting to enslave? That's the other thing. It's slavery. Now, slavery is not, it's not just what most people think it is. It is not where you force somebody to work for no wages or extremely low wages, and you refuse to let them go. You keep them in bondage and chains, and this is what people think of slavery. That is slavery. But there's another form of slavery. When you are forced to do things that you really don't want to do, that are no benefit to you, but only to somebody else, and the only benefit to you is that you get to stay alive, that is slavery. Now think about excess taxation. Does it benefit the individual who's actually doing the work and paying the taxes? No. It benefits those who are confiscating the wealth from people and calling it taxes. So in this country, when you've got the average person has to work, from January 1st until sometime in April or May, almost 5 months into the year, just to pay off their taxes. And that's almost half, folks. Just to pay, tax-free day, depending on the state you're in, is, what was it, last year? It was in May, wasn't it? It was, and it differs by state, by the way. And I'm not talking about, what is it? Tax-free days what people come to mind is not that they work until May and everything that they earn from May to December is theirs to keep, because everything they earn from January to May has to go to a government in the form of taxes and fees. Tax-free day to most Americans means, well, my state has a sales tax, and we have that one day or one weekend every year where the state suspends the sales tax. Massachusetts, by the way, this year they skipped it. The state can't afford to take the hit on the tax-free day. No, we can't. We need the taxes from that one day. We need taxes. We cannot let the people of Massachusetts, we cannot give them a break just one day a year. Do you realize that's what they're telling you? They're telling you, oh, yeah, you know what? We probably tax you too much, so we're going to give it back to you just one day or 2 days a year. And this past year, Massachusetts couldn't even do that for the citizens of that Commonwealth. And here you have Hillary Clinton running around talking about, people need to pay their fair share in taxes. Oh, I think we're all overtaxed. But again, you get the PR people running around out there telling you how it's a good thing that you soak the rich. Get them to pay more taxes. Donald Trump didn't pay a dime in taxes ever. He hasn't contributed or invested in America. He hasn't contributed to or invested in jobs. He hasn't contributed to or invested in the military. Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes. And that's what he doesn't want you to know. That he gets away with not paying anything. And that's not fair. What she fails to tell you is that Donald Trump, even if he did pay zero federal income taxes, he pays a ton of other taxes. Not to mention, he only used the tax code legally to legally get his taxes cut down to zero, if that's actually what happened. Everybody does. They try to get their income down as low as possible for tax purposes, so they pay as little tax as possible. And how do they do it? Well, most people use the tax code legally, the tax code that was written by people like Hillary Clinton, the same tax code that Hillary and Bill use to keep their taxes at an absolute minimum, including, as I heard the other day, them taking a deduction for donating used underwear. By the way, who gave them a receipt for used underwear? You can't even, if you buy underwear at a store and you take it back, they can't resell it. So Goodwill, you may donate it, but they can't sell it. So how the hell do you get a deduction for donating your used undies? Well, the Clintons obviously found a way, and obviously it's legal. So there you go. Want to reduce your taxes, folks? Donate your own underwear.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, Why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0 Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
And how much people who are workers in this country, how much they actually do pay in taxes. And of course, during that brief Profit Center timeout, I took the liberty of finding out exactly when Tax Freedom Day was here this year in 2016. And it was, Tax Freedom Day was April 24th. In other words, you had to work from January 1st to April 24th to pay your taxes. Basically 4 months of your life. 1/3 of your annual life goes to pay your taxes. We paid $3.3 trillion in federal taxes for 2015. $3.3 trillion in federal taxes. Another $1.6 trillion in state and local taxes. In other words, Americans paid over $5 trillion, or nearly 1/3 of their nationalized incomes, to taxes. 1/3 of the economy of the United States is enslaved by the government. The government absconds with nearly 1/3, and they want more. Think about that. The government takes over $5 trillion from the American people every year. And they say it's not enough. And they say people aren't paying their fair share. Where do these people come from? Well, I tell you where they come from and how they get to be so successful is because of their PR people. Their PR people tell you, and you buy into it, that the people need to pay their fair share. You are under no obligation by law or by, patriotism to pay more than you absolutely have to. So it doesn't. If you pay more in taxes, doesn't make you more patriotic than somebody who pays less taxes. Honestly, it doesn't. In some cases, it makes you less patriotic, actually, if you pay more in taxes, because you're not keeping a check on the government. But government doesn't check itself. People have to check the government, and we don't check the government because we always seem to elect just enough of these tax and spenders who are in great enough numbers to successfully raise our taxes, increase our debt and our burden, and keep the American people enslaved to that system. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Tomorrow is the first Freedom Friday event of this new season. Yes, I'm calling it my new season here this October surprise. Freedom Friday, just about anything goes. And whatever you guys out there want to talk about, just keep it clean, please. We'll talk about here on this program. It's all directed by you, the listener. You could call in or tweet it in or whatever your ideas are, or whatever is on your mind and you want to get off your chest. You have the opportunity on Fridays to do so. Monday through Thursday, we try to stay with the pertinent issues. On Fridays, we open it up. Could be anything. I mean, I have a wide array of interests. If you listen to the program for any length of time, you know that I have a wide array of interests. So I'd probably, if I get bored with it, then it's probably really not interesting to anybody else out there. Just saying. And as well as this weekend, I will be in Eureka, California, Saturday and Sunday, speaking at the Republican Women's Fundraising event out there. They'll be given the keynote event on Sunday evening at the Sunday evening finale festivities. So check it out. Check out the event that is on the Facebook page, the Rod Eccles Show Facebook page, and Rod Eccles Speaker Facebook page as well. The event's information about the event is listed there. Come on out. Support your California Republican groups in their fundraising efforts. It's going to be entertaining. I like to think that I'm an entertaining type of person. You're going to get a little bit of firebrand, a little bit of joking, a little bit of information, a little bit of history, all that kind of wonderful stuff all rolled into one package. It's not a program like most people have ever seen before from speakers. So come on out. California, Eureka, California, which is just outside of Sacramento, California, I believe. So, liberal country, I know, but we're going to turn people's heads and turn it upside down. We're going to work hard to turn California back to red. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's doable. It is definitely doable. So, come on out, support the women's group. Support me, hell, if you don't like the Republican group out there, just come out to support me. Say hi. Shake my hand. You don't have to tell me you love me. I know you already do. Just come on out and say, if you're anywhere near there, come out and say hi. Just look it up on the map and see how close you are. And join us this weekend, October 8th and 9th. Got something special for you here. First-time premieres here on the Rod Eccles Show. And this goes along with, why I'm saying people need to think. Think before you speak. Think before you talk. Think before you act. It's important. Be informed, because otherwise you just end up being a nation of morons.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
There you go. That's what this show's all about. I probably need to play that at the beginning of the show, just so morons know that they're moronic, by the way. They really do. Just so they turn on. Well, actually, maybe not, because we want them. If the morons listen to programs like this more often, they probably would stop being morons. So only those who want to remain a moron should turn off programs like this. I'm probably going to get slammed for calling people morons. But hey, if the shoe fits, Hillary Clinton is in seclusion until the next debate. Donald Trump is being schooled by Mike Pence and others on how to effectively, because, Mike Pence did such a great, everybody's talking about Mike Pence's performance at the debate, and Tim Kaine's a horrible performance. It was hard listening. I didn't watch the debate live, but I tried listening to clips of it. It was hard listening to the clips. That didn't even, Pence got interrupted 72 times by Kaine in a 90-minute debate, but that doesn't tell the whole story. I mean, it just wasn't a quick interruption. I mean, Pence could hardly get an answer in. And I heard the part where the moderator saying, "Well, Mr. Pence, Governor, why don't you answer the questions?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He couldn't answer because every time he started to, Kaine would jump in and cut him off and change the subject and bring up some stupid platitude about Donald Trump not paying his taxes. So this is, but he was the epitome of how you keep your cool in that particular situation. Now, me, I probably would have put up with it for like 30 minutes. And then I would have just turned to him and said, "Mr. Kaine, we can either have a discussion or you can just talk over me. If you'd rather have the mic, go right ahead. Otherwise, shut the hell up and let me answer a question. Give you the courtesy of answering a question without overly interrupting you. So do not interrupt me, sir. Do not do it again, or we will have a problem." Now, that's how I would have responded. But Pence, obviously, I'm not presidential. But Pence, on the other hand, he's now being revered as being presidential. And, of course, the PR spin is, maybe he knows Donald Trump is going to lose, and so he's setting himself up for president in 2020. Well, or even if Donald Trump wins, Donald Trump probably only served one term, so he's setting himself up. Either way it goes, Pence is setting himself up. At this debate, he just set himself up for a run in 2020. And, that may be true. Hey, it happens. Now, I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose with that in mind. I'm going to be presidential, so in 2020, people will remember this debate and remember me being. Anybody ever remember any vice presidential debates? There aren't many moments that you remember. I tell you what they will remember. They'll remember the poor showing and how rude Senator Kaine was. So you got Hillary, who's in seclusion, I guess resting up, maybe, because she needs all that rest so she can stand up for, what is it, another 90-minute debate? Are they going to be standing this time? I don't know the particulars of how the stage is going to be set. If they'll be standing or if they'll be sitting at a table. No, there's two moderators, right, this time? Cooper Anderson or Anderson Cooper, however you want to formulate his name, is one of the moderators, from my understanding. So I'm not sure if they'll be sitting at a table, big table like the vice presidential debate, or I don't like that format either, because you got them sitting down and they're all calm and it's supposed to be calm and collected, and the vocal tones are low and it's intimate. That's a bunch of crock. Politics all over the world is a blood sport. It's beat 'em up, chew 'em up, toss 'em out type of thing. And if you can't handle it, then don't get into politics. But so you need to be feisty. It's very difficult being feisty when you're sitting down and being that close to somebody, and you have your hands folded on the table, and you have the moderator who's speaking softly to you, and you have to return the answer in a soft tone. So it's hard to get feisty. You can get rude, like Tim Kaine did, but it's hard to get feisty. What are you going to do? Stand up and throw the chairs and throw your chair back and pound your fist on the table? That never happens. Decorum is such that you don't do that. So Clinton is in seclusion preparing for, look, I guess after the performance of Kaine and Pence, and everybody's talking about how Pence could be schooling Trump, and Trump is obviously getting some assistance on how to handle the next debate. It's got the Clinton camp worried. It's got the Clinton camp worried that she needs to study her stuff more. It doesn't matter. Well, she's going to come out with the same robotic tone, same robotic smile, same robotic stare, and same robotic rote. By the way, the rote answers. This is another story here. Where is it in here in this paper pile? Got it here. It's from Newsmax, and it is about Clinton and Clinton learning her lines, basically. All this stuff is just scripted for her. Now, if what Trump needs to do is get her off script. He needs to get her off script. Remember the Steve Harvey interview with Clinton? Well, there's a leaked memo. And this is from Newsmax. From the Washington Free Beacon. Hillary Clinton's interview with Steve Harvey was scripted by the campaign. The Washington Free Beacon cited an internal Clinton memo that they got a hold of that shows the producers of the Steve Harvey show sent Clinton the Clinton campaign the questions that would be posed to Hillary at that time. The campaign also helped craft the questions and even provided answers for Clinton to say, rote memorization. Now, Harvey is known as a host who goes out of his way to make his guests feel comfortable. So said two Clinton communications aides in the memo. The memo also stated, we coordinated closely with the show's producers on the script and format of that show. And the memo spelled out the reasons why Clinton was appearing on the show. The purpose of this interview is to reach African American and women voters. The memo also said, we reached out to the show because it is the most watched TV show for African Americans in the USA. So the whole thing, thanks to Steve Harvey, was completely scripted. So she was like this is why this woman sounds like a robot all the time. Most of the stuff is not from her heart. It's memorized. She's memorizing a script like an actor. But unfortunately for her and the rest of us, she's not a very good actor. No, I'm sorry, actress. Now, people have been speculating that, all the stuff that Clinton does and says has been scripted and wrote for and memorized by her, which is, if she can do that, how is it that she can't recall all the other stuff that she says, I can't recall. I don't recall getting training on how to handle secret documents. I don't recall calling all those people who accuse my husband of sexual impropriety bimbos. I don't recall that. I don't recall being nasty to them. I don't recall a lot of things, but I can recall a script. I just can't act that script out very well. I sound like a robot. Well, she does. She sounds like a robot. And you can see the change. What's that new ad she's got out about children? Well, yeah, she's got a new ad about, for the children. Have you seen that TV ad? I don't want to play it. I don't want to give her any more airtime, but basically, our job is to make sure that every child and every person is somebody. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. That's in her younger days, she's gonna work with the Democratic Party to make sure that every child and every person in the USA is somebody. So, was she saying that before her and the Democrats, that everybody was nobody? But you could see the difference in her tone. She actually believed that BS back then. She was speaking from her heart. And then, it progresses on until you get to Granny Clinton this time and says, and I've always worked to help the American people and children, and I'm not stopping now. Can you imagine if she tried to give that same speech that she gave back then? I intend to make sure that every child and every person is somebody. I intend to make sure that every child and every person in this country is somebody. That's how she delivered today. Because she's either a cloned robot, cyborg, or she is so bad off that the only thing that she can actually do is memorize everything. What she says. She's got to be programmed. That's it. She's programmed. That's it, folks. Hillary Clinton is programmed. Who knows? Maybe she's like the Manchurian Candidate. Maybe she has really been programmed. Hypnotized or something. Kind of like the Zoolander thing. Remember the first Zoolander movie? Hypnotized Zoolander, Derek, and he didn't know it. Maybe the powers that be hypnotized Hillary. Maybe that's why she doesn't remember anything. Because they took it out of her forward memory. She can't reach back and find that information. That's highly possible. Maybe Hillary Clinton is actually telling the truth. She can't remember anything because it wasn't programmed into her brain for her to remember. That's it. The robot wasn't programmed properly.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 plus 2 equals Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stocking. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
Hillary Clinton sits alone trying to prepare for, in her secluded, wherever she's secluded herself, she still has her media hacks out there working for her. You know, her PR agents, the ones that work for free and the ones that get paid, but she's got some free ones out there. Needs free to her campaign. WND WorldNet Daily is reporting that 5 Washington Post writers liken Donald J. Trump to Hitler. Again, here are the PR spin talking points. Just say that Donald Trump is like Hitler. He's Hitler. He's Hitlerian, and there's uncanny resemblance. Not physical, just not physical resemblance, obviously, but emotional and theological resemblance. And I love how they call Trump a sociopathic liar. One sociopathic liar should not try to call out another sociopathic liar. I'm just saying. How do you? Well, yeah, but that stuff is in the media all the time. Donald Trump's a liar. He's a liar. Liar. But Hillary, she's so honest. I look at people sometimes. Are you kidding me? Oh, the FBI was just out to get her. She told the truth. She handled her business with them, man. No, she didn't. We got documents, written documentation. You put it up next to her meek verbal explanations, and there is no other way to come across and give the answer that she gave without lying about it. And she is a liar. I know people don't like to say that. Can't call people liars, Rod. It's not right. I never lied to anybody either. I told you, we don't lie here. The Clintons don't lie. We always tell the truth. I'm telling you right now, we always will. We'll be open. We'll be transparent. We'll let everybody know what really goes on, except behind the closed doors. When we close those doors, that's it, man. We're done. I tell you, sometimes you just. Anyway, speaking of Bill, there is a Bill Clinton recipient of a Bill Clinton pardon that is now backing Donald Trump. Says he can't support Hillary. She's too much of a liar and a phony. And here's a person who Bill pardoned who would know Hillary Clinton. And if he's saying that Hillary Clinton is not for him, maybe all you other people out there who should probably think about the same thing. Because here's a guy he's beholden to the Clintons for getting him out of jail, keeping him out of jail. Anyway, we're done for the day, unfortunately. That's all the time we have. We'll be back here tomorrow, Freedom Friday. And don't forget, I'll see all of you out there in California this weekend. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.